Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is SB Jimmy, and do I have a treat for you? It is finally time to take a look at the Peacebringer archetype, one of my favorites, and I'm happy to say I've been seeing a lot more people play Peacebringer lately. Yay! Peacebringers are like if you wanted to be the quintessential, this is what a hero is when you think about them thematically when you're playing this game where everybody's a hero. Peacebringers are amazing. I have three different parts for this video today. We're going to take a look at the powers real quick just to say which ones I would pick, why you would and wouldn't want them. I'm going to show you guys some macros that I have that I've only shared within my super groups and close personal friends, but I'm going to share them with you guys. Basically like a 1 through 9 numpad, switch, maintain all your forms, manage everything, double up on heals, double up on flares. It's gonna be awesome. And then I also have some builds on pines for us to look at and compare and contrast. A couple of them I made, a couple of them I'm pulling from a list of 3,500 plus pines, which I will be posting a video pretty soon on how to get all of that 3,000 plus builds and stuff for pines, and hopefully everyone can start using those and creating their characters and contributing, because I would love to review some of the builds that you guys make. So let's get to it. As a Peacebringer, you only get a single choice for your primary power and a single choice for your secondary power. Now, the cool thing about that is anybody playing a Peacebringer is going to have the same powers as you. So any build applies to you and you could give it a try. Now, there are some sub builds, okay? You could do straight human, you could do human lobster, you could do human lobster squid, you could do human squid. There's a lot of different mixes around. I'm going to tell you guys right now, the way that Peacebringers are in Homecoming, you want a triform, okay? That doesn't mean that you switch forms quite as often as you do on a Warshade, but picking all of those forms gives you more procs, and it lets you take advantage of your light form, which is your last, I don't even want to say tier 9 because you have more powers than anyone else. It's the last ability on your secondary powers under Luminous Aura light form. I'm going to tell you why this is so cool, and it'll make the rest of the build make sense. When you activate light form, you become pure Keldian energy and are extremely resistant to most damage. You are also partially protected from some disorient, immobilization, hold, sleep, knockback, and repel effects. Endurance recovery is also increased. Light form costs little endurance to activate, but when it wears off, you are left exhausted and drained of hit points and endurance. Well, it only drains you to about half hit points and endurance, and that's the only bad part about light form, keeping in mind that you also have conserve energy, and you could pop that right before light form goes off and still maintain a bit of your endurance and be okay. Plus, if you have some inspirations. But light form changed from the way that it was on live. On live, you were stuck in light form and you couldn't go to your white dwarf form to tank, and you couldn't go to your squid form to do damage. But that's changed. You can do it in any of the forms, and that means in Bright Nova, your squid form, you have the maximum resistance and the biggest damage multiplier in the game. Even blasters don't have as high a damage multiplier as you do. Squid form is slightly more than a blaster. And then if you slot that right and proc it up, it's amazing. And there's no reason not to take it, even if you don't use it as much, because if you're going to Exemplar with lower teams, you know, or you go do Positron, hop into your Nova form. You're going to be fine. You're not going to have all your, inner light and all those other cool things maybe, but you're going to be able to help your team. Same with Dwarf form. I can't tell you how many times I just bought an attuned set for everything because I was like, I'm just going to do Task Force and I'll always be able to tank, or I'll always be able to, swap forms a little bit, depending on if I have light form or not by that point, and be helpful. There's a lot of quality of life powers that you can get as well. But before we get too far off light form, I do want to say there are two options for light form in the costumes, okay? There's the original and color tinted form, and then there's the wispy form. If you do the wispy form, you're doing it wrong, because wispy form doesn't show the squid. It doesn't show the lobster. And when you transform into those forms, it locks you down and it holds you still. So make sure that you only do the original or color tinted when you do your light form under custom, to make sure that you don't nerf yourself on accident. Okay, now that's a glitch on the light form side. Here's a glitch with the first two abilities. It says that Glinting Eye can only be used in the Bright Nova form, and Gleaming Bolt can only be used in the White Dwarf form, and then gives a little bit more taunt. Well, that's not what's happening. If you set the opposite first or second power to auto cast, it works in both forms. So basically, if you left Glinting Eye in auto cast and you went into White Dwarf the Lobster, you can still use Gleaming Bolt and you'll auto cast Glinting Eye. I don't recommend it because you start pulling mobs that you don't mean to do, but you can do that for Bright Nova, and I will show you guys this macro where you can switch to Bright Nova. It automatically sets Gleaming Bolt to auto, and then you're using both and just getting an extra power that nobody else has unless they use that macro. So there you go. That's a little tip right there until they fix it. The next couple of abilities are Radiant Strike, and I would compare that with Incandescent Strike, a couple more down. Those are two big punches that you do. Radiant is like a gut punch. It does superior damage, I believe, and it's pretty good. I don't want to say don't take it, and I don't want to say don't take Incandescent Strike, but I never do. Because Incandescent Strike has like a 3-second cast time. It raises you way up in the air and then you hit the ground, and it's not worth what it takes to hit with Incandescent Strike to hold you down that long. Radiant Strike is okay and it knocks the opponent back, but I'm usually trying to get something else, and you might see in one of my builds, I just don't have room for them, and I'm never in melee range like that. I'm hitting big mobs if I'm in melee range, or trying to hit somebody from far if I'm in like Nova or something. So I don't think they're necessarily worth it, but they do look cool, and some people really like them. I don't take Proton Scatter even if you're in human form, because you're not outside of a mob hitting them. If you're in human form, you're in the middle of the mob, getting ready for like a double flare, which is only a macro that you would have if you watch this video. Inner Light is basically your build up. It lasts for 30 seconds, and you can basically get that on permanent. And I like to macro that with like Photon Seekers or one of my big pulses or something. So we'll get to see that as well, but it's a really good build up. Pulsar is probably not worth it. It takes the same animation as like Flash from the Illusion Tree. Too slow, doesn't deal damage, and I don't think Disorient is much survivability in most cases. You're dealing damage so fast, and with the way that people run at 50 now, where everyone's hitting mobs so fast and going, you can probably be in the front as a Peacebringer. So jump right in there, and don't wait for them, and you don't need to use Pulsar. You don't need Glowing Touch. You're not a healer. You're this big, crazy monster flipping forms and freaking everybody out up at the front. Solar Flare you need, because if you get this and you get your Lobster form as well, you can double it up through swapping forms super fast with like one key, and it's awesome. You can hit people and you can knock them. It says knock back. You can actually change that to knock down, and you can do that for Luminous Detonation. You can do that for almost any of your abilities as a Peacebringer that knock people back. You will knock them down and keep them in place and ready for your next. It's amazing. That's the sudden acceleration enhancement that you use for that. Photon Seekers are good. They do damage. I always forget to use them, so and they lock you down while you're moving. So just the cast time kind of bothers me. They're definitely worth it, and they follow you around for a little bit. So maybe I just need to be a little bit more proactive and say, okay, throw down my Photon Seekers, now I'm going to engage. Or maybe there's a bind that somebody would, let me know in the comments, how do you remember to use Photon Seekers? Because I never do. And then Dawn Strike you definitely take, because anybody around you is going to be just blasted by this huge energy on top of your flares. Oh, and it doesn't even drain you. Oh, it's really good, and you can set that to knock down as well. And that's when everyone goes, who is that? I want to play that class. Luminous Aura. Now, because we talked about light form and we know that we're going to get maximum resist and we know that we're going to get fine, you do not need any of these shields beyond the original Incandescence. All Incandescence is a slot mule for you, and you might throw some slots into that just to mule it up for some procs, and that'd be fine because it's always on. Shining Shield you don't use because you don't want toggles. You don't want any of these. You don't want Tough and Weave. You don't want Leadership. You're switching forms so fast and doing so much because that's how you do the most damage. Forget toggles. That's somebody else's job. You're awesome, and you're at the front of the pack. You don't have time for anything else. So you're not going to resist smashing and damage. It's useless. You do get essence boost because this combined with, I think, reform essence you get later on, and then also the white dwarf. I think is it sublimation or it's the other one. It heals you, right? So you get like 3 heals that you can chain together, and this also raises your max HP, which you would want if you wanted to do PvP. Resistance to fire and cold. Who cares? Quantum shield. Resistance to energy. Who cares? This is just your opportunity to get better power pools and do cool stuff. Group energy flight you might take if you were doing like Hamilton every week and you wanted to be that guy. Looking at you, plump. But you could make everybody fly up around you and get closer to the midichlorians or whatever, and that would be useful. But on mine, I wouldn't be in there that often on my Peacebringer, so I would probably not take group energy flight. White dwarf you could do. Basically, you're always going to do, because even if you don't use it to tank when you're level 50, you use it to build up your damage and healing and everything else. And then if you do exemplar to a lower level, you are able to tank, and it's really easy to max your resistance, and you can throw in a couple more procs in here as well. Like I would put, I think, unbreakable guard and white dwarf, the max HP, throw in the max resistance recharge or something like that, and then you get a 3-slot enhancement. So it's really cool. Always take white dwarf. Plus, they changed it so that the primary and secondary colors that you use on them now actually show up. It used to just be like you would get one of your colors. On both forms now, you get both colors showing up. I would show you guys, but for some reason it lags me out, and I don't want to ruin the video just for that. Reform essence you need because it's going to add to your macro chain heals. It's awesome. Conserve energy you're going to need because it's going to help with your light form crash. Quantum acceleration, I don't think that you need it per se. It adds a lot of flight control. It makes you a lot faster, but I use super speed and super jump. I don't use flight a lot of the time. If you want to just stick with flight, then yeah, go ahead and get it, and it's going to make you better, but I don't see a need for it. I think that it also can be slotted for Luck of the Gambler plus Global Recharge. A lot of these abilities can, but we'll see that more as we switch to, we're going to look at the macros next, and then we'll look at Pines after this. Quantum flight you basically need. It is like a phase shift that also lets you fly, and it makes you fly fast, and it's cool. So go ahead and take it. It's like a oh crap button. I would always use it. Restore essence you might use if you're like leveling up or as you just got to 50. I don't have it because it's kind of a waste of a slot for me. I want to get like as much luck of the gambler as I can, so I don't use it, but there's nothing wrong with it. If you need it in the short term, you can always respec out. It's easy. And then light form we talked a lot about, but you're always going to take light form. Watch for the crash and remember to use as much of your forms you can when you're using that. So let's switch over to the binds. So most of these are in order, and I'm going to link, or not link, I'm going to paste the binds down in the description at some point if I can, so you guys can copy and paste. Basically, you would just highlight from where it says /bind over to the end, and then when you're in game, press enter and paste, and it's going to bind that key. Now you can change the numpad to whatever you want. That would mean it's the numpad over on the right of your keyboard. If you press 1, it's going to, and I have the description, shift to Nova, go to tray 8 for Nova powers, sets Gleaming Bolt to auto, which shouldn't work, but it does. And you can click 1 again to disable the auto cast, and that's how you turn off or on Gleaming Bolt. A couple other macros are going to set Hasten, which is awesome. So my auto cast is actually swapping around a lot, so it adds a little bit more to the game there. So just be careful. And I recommend always saving these to your own Word file or something, so you can always work on your keybinds later. I'm only going to show you guys my Peacebringer ones, but you can see like here below I have some other ones and War Shades, and I always just keep them in one spot for any character, so I can always add like texting macros and stuff. I'll do a whole video to that later. So numpad 1 I just showed you there. You copy and paste that. Your numpad 2, drop both forms and go to tray 1, which is your human powers. It toggles combat flight because I have a Luck of the Gambler in there, and auto casts Hasten because that means I'm going back to human form, and I want to be able to fly because I'm probably up in the air if I'm a Nova. But you can see here, I toggled off both. So this will work from Nova form or from White Dwarf form, because that was giving me some trouble before. The more that time that you spend with macros, the more that this makes sense. And I like I said, this is really making me want to do my full video. There's so many guides online, especially for City of Heroes. There's full packets you guys can find. It's really easy. But I want to help people throw together their stuff and send me cool binds. Post cool binds in the comments. That's what I want to see from you guys. Post cool binds. Let's get this going. Because that's all I do. If I'm like getting a power level or something, I just sit there, work on pines and work on binds. Slash bind numpad 3, so this is to drop both forms, cast inner light, so that and then set light form to auto cast. I take a lot of consideration into which power is cast and then which power is auto cast. There's more advanced ways that you can do, like plus down and all this other cool stuff around. But I like this because it's going to cast my build up basically, and then my light form is going to be set to auto cast. So as soon as it's ready, it comes on, and then I don't have to turn them both on. I just know I'm as powerful as I possibly could be. Numpad 4 is going to shift to dwarf. Go to tray 9 where I have my dwarf powers. It sets Glinting Eye to auto cast, which shouldn't work, but it does. And then I have below that the alternate version, which doesn't have the auto cast Glinting Eye, because I just decided to turn it off. I kept turning it off every time because it was too annoying anyways, but it was an extra power you had access to at lower levels. So it's up to you guys which one you want to use. Numpad 5, drop both forms, toggle on stealth and sprint. So I had stealth only because I could do both at the same time. Should have stealth and IO in sprint, and sets Hasten to auto cast. So I could press 5 if I wanted to just drop everything from my shapeshifted form and get ready to like run, you know, and was going to be safe and had all my defense buffs and stuff. That was like the max toggles that I had. Drop dwarf and double flare. So now we're getting to some of the powers, and these could be put into anywhere. You could change the macro to like, or the bind to like a slash macro. As easy as this. I can do it live here because it just makes so much sense to me now. I think it's the wrong size so you guys could read it. Slash macro. And then there's ways to put the actual image, but I don't like doing the actual image because I get confused. So I'll say double flare DF. There you go. And then this is going to do the exact same thing, but it's going to make a little gray circle appear on my power ball called DF, and I know that's double flare. So I can go boom and then hit it, and it's going to run the same string. Do that one. Basically, you want to start in dwarf form, and as soon as you press, in my case, 6 or this macro, I'll even save that to make sure it's added. It'll automatically set solar flare to auto after it uses the flare ability, and it also takes off Bright Nova in case you accidentally hit Bright Nova on accident. That way it doesn't glitch you out, because then all the macros don't work if it doesn't drop both Lobster and Nova. Drop both forms, cast Reform Essence, and conserve energy. This is to my numpad 7 because I felt like I wasn't using conserve energy enough, so I put it with Reform Essence here. But that's only because this next one, numpad 8, is my big heal from my dwarf, White Dwarf Sublimation and my Essence boost. So now I get to use Reform Essence and Conserve Energy, and then Essence Boost and White Dwarf Sublimation on 2 separate powers. So it kind of gives me 2 healing powers, or like 1 quality of life and a big heal. So numpad 7 turns Essence Boost onto auto, toggles off Bright Nova just in case you're accidentally in that. Power exact name, White Dwarf Sublimation. And really, now I only have like numpad 9 that I need, and I'm able to drive my character with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'm sure that there's more. I've seen people, and there's more that you could do with like the slash sign, the star sign, the plus sign, maybe the decimal and the 0 at the bottom. But all of this is things that I kind of picked and chose around, and even some of these are actually my own. The double heal isn't mine, but double flare is not mine. But the shifting to stealth and all my autos and stuff was mine. This one here, 4 and 5, and then also the auto for when the auto powers when you switch to the forms, that was mine as well. Oh, there's some more shade ones. All right, and then for number 9, drop both forms, cast photons, and dawn strike, because I felt like I wasn't using photons enough. So this was my way to make sure that if I was going to use dawn strike, my AoE, I was also going to throw out photons so they hit at about the same time and maximize my damage. So it's like slash bind numpad 9, power exact auto, dawn strike, photon seekers, toggle off white dwarf, toggle off bright nova. Good one. So you could totally copy and paste this, and it's in the correct order to get like the most damage that you could off of that macro. So we're going to start looking at some Pines builds. I hope you guys get to use these. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you can come up with some other cool binds as well. And I want to start by looking at, I think this is one that I made. And then we'll look at some other ones that were around. I think they were more during issue 25. Everything that I chose is during issue 25. So we've talked enough about the powers here, right? But looking around at like totals, you can see that with light form, I can get from pretty low resistance up to max. And it looks like 85 is the max for Peacebringers in this case. I'll get a little bit, there you can be a little closer there. You can see I didn't pick a lot of the powers as I talked about. All the ones I thought were good. Even on the right, got all the ones that I thought were good. Yep. Oh, I got misdirection in this one as well, because instead of phase shift, to try it out, because it was a minus res to all in the area. What did I put on misdirection? That was kind of a funny one. On misdirection, I put... Oh, I can't even see it. Oh, down here. Just an accuracy, because it was the last one. Little minus res power. I didn't really get to use it too much. I think I got rid of that later. But you can see, look at all the procs I get just from being a triform. Chance for res debuff. So even if I am in Nova form, I'm just going for whatever procs, right? I don't need to waste a lot of slots going into making him do the most damage. Because I'm only really doing that if I'm low level anyways. But I have seen people who put like 6 slots in a lot of their abilities from there as well. So it all just depends, and we'll get to see theirs as well. Light form, I just wanted to max that out. Looking at this now, I might do a little bit more to the end mod just to max that out. But look at these totals here. Defense, it might as well be nothing if it's not, 25%, 35%, whatever it should be closer to. But I was able to get recharge speed, knockback protection, incandescent strike. I think I have here. Why do I have incandescent strike? Oh, that's right, because it was a hold. Because you could get a +2 mag hold from lockdown. So that was worth it. Hecatome for damage. Really fun. I understand that Mac users are having a difficult time being able to pull up Pines. Let me know if you guys are able to use Pines, because I could link a lot of these more specifically. But I also do want to show you guys the link of 3,000 plus binds, but this one's one of mine. So let me know if you guys want these builds, and I can put them out there. It's not completely done. I was missing 1 or 2 there. Also, White Dwarf Step gives you access to Blessing of the Zephyr, so you can get some knockback protection, energy flight, more knockback protection. Nobody should be able to break you back. Inner Light, yep, this is a good proc build, I thought. All right. Now we're gonna go to, had a second version of this one I wanted to see here. So this one has no leadership. So that was a little bit too much. Still keeps incandescent strike. A little bit more on the stamina mod because it was having some trouble. But yeah, that's why you want the triform, and for all the other reasons that we talked about, but because look how many procs you can throw on there as well. Okay, let's go to, these are ones that I got from the other, the big pack of builds. So this guy went for maneuvers, probably just for the What did he go for? Maneuvers for. Yeah, just the global recharge time is all that he wanted. And yeah, it's at the end there. Quantum acceleration, luck of the gambler. So he just went for a lot of luck of the gambler weave to max out for luck of the gambler with a hard cap. But he's using tough and weave. So you notice here he doesn't have white dwarf. He doesn't have bright nova. So this is actually a full what do you call it? Human build. He's got stealth. Yeah, this is full human all the way. Notice he has each one of the shields. But why do you need those shields? Check it out. This is why it's a waste. Let's see. He's using maneuvers because he's human, or he's not. He's using shield, tough, weave, hasten, shield. Not boxing. Essence boost. Okay, so he's maxed out, right? Even without light form. He had to donate. Am I missing one? Tough and weave? No, I have them all. And then let's say, yeah, maneuvers. Quantum acceleration doesn't do anything. Okay. He's like maxed in resistance, right? And then he goes light form. And he's already maxed in resistance. It doesn't make a difference. That's what I'm talking about. That's the biggest issue. Unless you wanted to have all of those on all the time, not get any of the procs or the double flare or the extra heal from lobster form, or not be able to do things in lower levels, to go light form every so often. Why? So you can have the same resistance and a crash? That sucks. No. Maybe he does it just for knockback, but come on, man. Come on. Is there a reason why that's not ridiculous? Let me know, because that seems like the craziest thing in the world to me. Oh, not City of Heroes. Peacebringer. Okay. So this one is also a human only. Let's point and laugh at him. With light form off, he has... I want to turn off. A little bit lower. He went for all of the shields. Looks like he was picking shields just to use them as slots. So he's like, oh, I'm going to waste a power that I shouldn't need to use anyways, because I can get maximum with light form anyways. I'm going to take these powers, never use them, just to have a free slot so that he can 6-slot. Oh my god, look what he's 6-slotting. Gleaming Blast with Apocalypse, Armageddon, all these purples. Oh my god. So this guy is going like, you know what's more important to me than my actual abilities? The fact that I can put these crazy strong enhancements in here. Wow. What a nightmare. Oh, even on health? Essence booth, so much panacea. Ah! This guy is... Quantum Shield just has static resistance, just like the gamblers. What? Wow. Okay, okay. I'm seeing what's going on here. That's intense. That's a pretty intense build. Let's go to this one here. Again, another human only. Wow. That looks like the way that they're doing it is they're going just for trading powers for procs, probably never use them. Let's see, if this guy never used his shields, never used combat jumping. Okay, he has some in maneuvers. Only things he slotted into. Did he take? Where's his life form? If he didn't use anything he didn't slot into, he's at 17% resistance, 33% defense. Okay, not bad, not bad. Now he goes to light form. Oh, thermal shield. Hold on, hold on. I'm seeing some thermal shield. Fire and cold. Okay, okay. Light form. And then he's overmaxed in everything. That's the way to do it. Going down to thermal shield, take it off. Is he not maxed? No, he's still max, even with light form. Yeah, he has no point. And then these can just drain his endurance, I guess. Jeez Louise. All just for those 6 slots. Everybody wants Ragnarok. Nah, that knockdown distance is probably supposed to be the knockback to knockdown, is what he's marking. Dawn Strike, knockback to knockdown. Radiant Strike, knockback to knockdown. What a cool build. That guy knows what he's doing. All right, couple more. Luminous Blast. So this is a Nova IC White Dwarf. Ooh, so this Nova has like 6 slotted Thunder Strikes on Bolt and Blast. Superior Frozen Blast. What's his scatter? Accuracy and damage on scatter. Okay, because you probably don't use it too much. Oh, he's just got like a Nucleus exposure on each of his, on a Golgi exposure on Sublimation. Oh, he just went for hammies on his dwarfs. Yeah, because he knows what's up. He's just getting it for some extra stuff. You can put procs on there now, bud. Why not put like a knockdown bonus on something? I don't know. I messed it up. Oh well. I won't save his. Unbreakable, unbreakable, and thermal shield. So this guy didn't go Photon Seekers, didn't go Dawn Strike. Looks like this guy just wants to tank, but he doesn't have any powers on tank. What is he going for? How bizarre. What a weird build. It looks cool though. I'm not sure what he's going for. Superior Essence on Incandescent Strike. So I guess he just punches people. He's like a melee one. Yeah, he's melee. Glinting Eye. And that's it. He's melee. Figured it out. Solar Flare. He doesn't have any of the abilities there. He's like a punch you superhero with shields, and his totals are way off the charts. Oh my god. And he probably uses kick. Oh wow. Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, that's weird. And then why does, if you're melee, why don't you? Because he just takes damage and then goes back to melee. He probably taunts him and goes back to melee. Whoa, what a trip. I guess Peacebringers, you see the weirdest people trying to work with the same build over and over again. You're going to see everything. This guy looks all human as well. He's got some leadership, combat jumping for extra luck of the gambler, hasten, no super speed, so he just flies around in human form, trying to be the biggest Peacebringer that he can be, and that's about it. Okay, well, it seems like that's one way to go. I think that might be one of the weakest builds I can think of. Not dissing anybody if they're just going human form flying around, but that's more thematic. Yeah. He's using his actual abilities. Glinting Eye, Gleaming Blast. Because he's not going for Gleaming Bolt for both forms. Yeah, a little bit of Shining Shield. Let's look at his totals. He's already maxed, but with light form off. Yeah, so he actually needs light form. Here he comes to save the day. Oh, and another thing, Peacebringers don't need to just be natural anymore. See how it says just natural? You can pick any origin, by the way. I wish I knew that. I picked natural by default, but I wish he was science. All right, 2 more. For those of you that hung in there, woohoo! Let's keep it up. Luminous Blast, Proton Seekers, Infinite Bright. So no Bright Nova, no White Dwarf, every single other shield and boosted ability he could possibly have. No defense. I don't believe that. Where's his weave? Oh, but he doesn't even use weave. Yeah, he has to use weave. Come on, turn on. 4.3! Vengeance, tactics, maneuvers. The fact that he had those turns off make me wonder. Solar Flare. He's got some procs in there. I don't like the knockdown to knockback. It should always be knockdown. Otherwise, it doesn't always work. Combat Flight for procs. You got it. Crushing Impact for some reason on Brawl. For more resistance that he doesn't need because he's capped. He's not capped. What? He's not capped without Inner Brawl. Why is he not capped? He should be capped. This is like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Why is he not? Look at that. It's just to the cap, and he has... Oh, he doesn't have light form! What? We found the one build that doesn't have light form, and it still reaches the cap. What the heck? Oh my god. And he has Experimentation, which isn't even out yet. Tough and Weave. What a boss. And he has, oh, look at this. He has both the first and second abilities, no Bright Nova and no White Dwarf. So he has no reason not to take Gleaming Blast. Oh my god. And then he's putting Unbreakable Card in Incandescence. Oh my god. Well, you guys will be able to find these builds and more. I'm gonna have to yeah, look at my other video when I do the 3,500 plus builds. These are all in the Peacebringers section. It's the veteran archetype section. I was gonna put them there so everybody can see. This is amazing. What fun. And then as we go to look at this last one here, make sure you guys check out my other videos too. I am a little bit scared as to what this one's going to be about. I can already see that he has no Photon Seekers, Light Form, no Bright Nova, and he has White Dwarf. Peacebringers are weirdos. Let me know what the next class you guys want to see is, by the way, because I could do War Shades. But I'm so tired of Keldians right now after these guys. Oh, man. But any class, anything, I do costumes. Thanks for hanging out with me. I've seen a lot of likes on the videos, you guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sitting at the end. I don't even know how long this video is by now. But I really wanted to talk about Peacebringers. This is awesome. All right, last weirdo here. No Glowing Touch. No Quantum Flight. No speed. He only has combat, jumping, and maneuvers. So this guy's flying around as well. Oh, you guys need to send me your builds. So I'm looking at these guys. It's starting to freak me out. Seriously, I don't know if we can post builds in YouTube comments. If you guys can post builds, I will post builds. And I will post all of these builds. And we will go back and forth. But seriously, they're on the forums. They're on everything. Discord. Let's get it going. I want to review your guys' builds. And I promise I won't make fun of them like these guys putting Apocalypse into Gleaming Blast. That's actually pretty cool. Bam! Where's his AoE? 6 slot. What's his totals? Without light form, this guy's maxing everything without light form anyways. And then he just has recharges. Oh my god, that's this guy. He doesn't even have anything in light form. He just has recharges because he never goes into White Dwarf apparently. He's able to like hit 8 of his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He hits 7 toggles in between each time he hits White Dwarf. And all he uses White Dwarf to do is taunt and heal. And if he ever happens to hit, he gets plus recharge. Oh, that's pretty cool. I never thought to do that. Just put plus recharge on each. Because that would just start making your other crap start coming back faster. Yes, throw recharge on everything. Look at, and they're even just slot mules. All of his shields are. Even his White Dwarf is a slot mule. What a piece of garbage. All right. My name is SB Jimmy. Thank you guys for hanging in there with me. And I will see you all in a little bit.